February 27, 2026 Midday News Summary, New York Time, covering 6 morning to 12 noon. Don't forget to subscribe before we start, so you don't miss out on the latest international news. News 1, Fed Chair affirms data-dependent stance. In a pre-recorded interview, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell emphasized the central bank remains data-dependent, stating, "We need greater confidence inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. He acknowledged strong labor market resilience but noted recent services inflation data warrants caution, reinforcing a patient approach to policy adjustments. News 2, Eurozone inflation holds steady at 2.1%, preliminary Eurozone Harmonized Index of Consumer Prices, HICP, for February came in at 2.1% year-on-year, unchanged from January and slightly above the 2% consensus. Core inflation dipped to 2.5% from 2.6%, but persistent services prices support the ECB's stance for a gradual rate-cutting cycle starting in June. News 3, Japan's industrial output falls sharply. Japan's Ministry of Economy reported industrial production plunged 6% month-on-month in January, far worse than the forecasted 2.5% drop, marking the steepest decline since May 2020. The data, attributed to auto sector disruptions and weak Asian demand, intensified pressure on the Bank of Japan to maintain ultra-accommodative policy. News 4, Brent crude tops $84 on supply concerns. Brent crude futures rose 2.3% to $84.15 per barrel amid escalating Middle East tensions and reports of a significant drop in U.S. crude inventories. The move higher pressured global bond markets as inflation expectations edged up, with the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield climbing 5 basis points to 4.35%. News 5, UN Security Council convenes on Sudan famine. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency session as the World Food Programme declared a full-scale famine in parts of Sudan. Diplomatic efforts to secure a humanitarian ceasefire and access corridors stalled due to disagreements among major powers over linkage to broader sanctions. News 6, Tech shares slide on AI chip export worries. Major U.S. and Asian semiconductor stocks fell broadly after unconfirmed reports suggested potential new restrictions on AI chip exports to certain Middle Eastern nations. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index was indicated to open down 1.8%, dragging futures on the Nasdaq 100 lower. That's all for today's news. See you next time.